Alright, welcome to episode 2 of Vault of Horror. Today we have a special guest, John Vella, who is in my movie Snuff in the background. He's also one of my supporting actors for my upcoming Seth and Tia. And today we're going to talk about his project, because he is making his directorial debut of the anthology horror film known as Cemetery Stories. John, you want to quickly talk to us about Cemetery Stories?
Yeah, absolutely. It is an anthology-style horror film inspired by Creepshow, which is, of course, directed by George Romero. We're making it in memory of George Romero. It's basically 5 short film segments that get progressively darker, and with, of course, a main storyline that ties it all together. The basic synopsis is this. There's a couple on Halloween that go to a cemetery, and while they're amongst the tombstones, they're both clairvoyant. So as they pick up a vibe on a tombstone, they put their hands on it, and it goes into the vision of how the person died. So each vision gets a little bit darker and darker. In between all this, there's this dark, shadowy figure stalking them and slowly revealing a little bit more about himself.
Okay.
It sounds awesome.
All right, so I remember you had a big segment that you used to promote when you did the sizzle reel on the Indiegogo page, and that was Bloodfire. First of all, what inspired that title, and two, where'd you come up with that plot?
Well, it's funny how initially I was going to do something called Shortcuts, which I'm actually in the writing stage for part 2 or a series, depending where we go with it. I was sitting out at a bonfire in my backyard one night. It was sort of like a night like tonight where it's raining off and on. And so I had to keep going in the garage, back out. So, long story short, between the rain and the fire, I got a phone call from a friend, and somehow we got on the Book of Revelation on that subject. And as soon as we got off the phone, the Iron Maiden song Number of the Beast came on the radio.
Ooh.
So I just started sitting there listening to all this and putting everything in my head together. I'm like, rain, blood, fire, Number of the Beast, which is a song, about sacrifice and whatnot. So it all just started coming to me, and I just started developing it in my head, and came together pretty quickly, actually.
That is like one of the craziest titles I've ever heard. Bloodfire, the Satanic Warlock Ritual. It's like brutal.
It's fucking brutal. Yeah, it's fucking metal, right?
It's like the most metal song ever. Metal title ever.
Right.
Well, it's kind of inspired by the Rob Zombie CD, the Electric Warlock Acid Witch Satanic Orgy Celebration Dispenser.
Yes.
Which I just saw him in Marilyn Manson a few weeks ago. That rocked.
Oh, man.
I missed that show, and I was depressed about it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, essentially, you woke up one day, you wanted to act and make films. And what was that moment in your life that pushed you to, start acting and then start with, writing your own films and directing your own films? Something must have made you snap and decided, I need to do this now. What was that moment that did that for you?
For me, I think we all have that thing, even as a kid, when we're watching TV. Oh, I would love to be that character, that person. I grew up, loving the Munsters, Addams Family, and Sir Graves, and
one of my
got
favorites.
Hooked to the Ghoul, and got hooked on horror at an early age. So, acting wise, I was at Motor City Nightmares is basically where it all started. Matt Kelly, Wolfman Matt Kelly, hosts his own show on Retro, and I've met him a couple times. So at Motor City Nightmares, we got on Facebook, and just being that whole atmosphere with getting to meet some of the celebrity guests and just seeing how cool and down to earth they were, really got me motivated. And one day I was on Facebook, and Mac had a post about a film called The Dark Below.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured, what have I got to lose? So I submitted a picture of myself, which is basically all they were asking. And the next morning I got cast. And then
Nice.
2 days later we filmed. So I actually started the day before my 47th birthday.
Ooh.
Wow.
And I actually missed, Alice Cooper and Motley Crue that day. But they came back. I saw them a year later on the exact same day, which was pretty cool.
That is a pretty weird coincidence.
I know.
So we have other projects we've done. We did Snuff. We did together and which was also your first writing. Have you obviously your career path into filmmaking in general is not going to stop at Cemetery Stories. Do you have any other projects you want to tell us about?
Yeah, currently, well, we co-wrote Snuff as well as the bigger picture Simon Slays, which I'm looking forward to that. That was a lot of fun to write. I mean, Snuff was great, but I love the way we expanded on that, the direction it went. But I'm also working on a film called The Other Side of Paradise, which it does have a hint of a horror element, but it's basically about real life horror. It deals heavily. There's such a huge, epidemic with the opioid crisis. Just a friend of mine lost a friend of his last week, a guy in the film industry. Other people just, left and right are dying. They're putting fentanyl in this stuff, and people are dying.
Right.
So my friend Crystal Snow and I are doing this film called The Other Side of Paradise. I can't elaborate too much, but I can say it deals heavily based on a true story of obviously drug addiction, sex abuse, drug abuse, homelessness, and just the struggles in we want to, we're definitely not sugarcoating it. I wrote the screenplay for it, so we really want to show the brutal reality of day-to-day living with, this person's struggles, which I think will be unique enough and definitely grasp people's heartstrings as well. So we do have a GoFundMe page up for the Other Side of Paradise, so please check that out.
Yeah, we'll leave a link in the description below for any of his projects for this whole podcast.
Me and John talk on the phone pretty frequently, and he's told me some freaky stories about the process of making Cemetery Stories. And as you know, any films that involve the devil, like The Omen and The Exorcist, always have these weird events that happen. They're considered cursed sets, but it sounds like Cemetery Stories might be one of those things. Please tell the audience all the weird stuff that you've experienced making this.
Yeah, just from day one, when I started writing the screenplay, it took me probably about a month and a half to write 30 pages of script because my computer would black out on me for sometimes 7 days at a time.
Wow.
And there was no real explanation for it. So I finally got the script written, and then moved, which was one of the hottest weeks of the summer last year, as you remember.
Oh, God, yes.
So then I got to writing Cemetery Stories. So when I cast it, we did a sizzle reel. Mm-hmm. And there's a part where we had somebody light a pentagram on fire. And I took a picture of it, which I'm sure we'll add in.
Yes.
But as soon as we lit it, I snapped a picture, and it's just totally unedited and everything. We noticed later on, somebody pointed out that there looked like a face of a witch next to a yellow star in the grass, which was weird because it was totally in flames, but yet you could see clearly the outline of the pentagram with the holes in it and everything.
Oh, wow.
And so next to that was this face of what looked like a witch. In the trees looked like this guy with really long hair, with a mustache and beard, kind of just looking down.
Oh man, I gotta see this picture.
Yeah, I'll show it to you, man. So I started looking a little more, enlarged it on my phone, and by the back of the altar, there's like this almost looks like a demon face, like a fireball with glowing eyes peeking around the side of it. And right behind him, that face is a skull, which clearly has an eyeball in it.
Wow, that's a crazy. That's like the cover of your movie.
I know, right?
And then unexpected shot.
And then just looking at just this little tiny part at the bottom of the picture, when I enlarged it, looked just like the guy in the trees, almost like a Charles Manson looking kind of guy.
Ooh, that's
and
creepy.
some people have said they've seen. I don't have the best quality cell phone, so other people have seen it on their laptops and whatnot, and found like images of German shepherds that weren't there.
Wow.
And the weird thing about that is the actor that we cast as the warlock, Diedrich Davis, looks like these images but he wasn't even
He's
on
never
set
been
that
in the
day.
costume, right?
Yeah, at that point we had another guy fill in, who ended up being the lead actor in the main storyline, the Cemetery Stories. So yeah, he wasn't even on set when that happened, but yeah, it was pretty
Nuts.
Then in the cemetery, there's one old section. Now keep in mind the cemetery was established in 1844, so there's a really old
It's
section.
nice and old.
Yeah, I mean it was known to be haunted. So there was one part where our cinematographer had a cable on the ground, wasn't plugged into anything, and started melting and smoking totally by itself. It got super hot.
Oh my god.
And then my script supervisor, her car stereo turned on by itself.
Oh man. So you already have a haunted movie.
Right.
That is awesome.
And just other things, like recently I stopped at a place and there was a parking meter. And when I went to put the money in it, it was flashing dead.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, hopefully that doesn't bode dead for anything else.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's actually inspiring me for future segments.
Right. Yeah.
You should do when you release the Cemetery Stories Blu-ray and DVD. What I suggest you do is make a documentary about that shit because people love that.
Oh yeah. Well, I plan to do a still gallery and
Yeah.
behind the scenes photos included, but definitely want to include those.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, fingers crossed and knock on wood, no one died during this process. Because in The Exorcist, a lot of people died making that movie. And same with The Omen.
Yeah.
And Poltergeist. So hopefully you don't fall in that curse. But it sounds like it's one of the cursed films. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. You can't beat that.
No, that's
No,
great.
better knock on wood. Everybody's in good health. you
Right.
know?
Yeah. So I know you're still in post production. What is your goal release date for it?
Well, we're looking at October, ideally for the Halloween season. So I'm still trying. I had to do some reshoots, which dipped into the post-production budget. So it's I have a crowdfunding page on GoFundMe. It's www.cemetery. Well, let me pull this out because I knew I was
We're gonna put the link in the comment.
Yeah,
the
link will be
description.
below for sure for that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
And you can also see it in the Facebook group.
www.gofundme.com/cemetery-stories-crowdfunding.
All right, we'll make sure we get that in the description below, and then on the Vault of Horror, we have a Facebook page. We'll put it in there as well.
Sweet,
So,
appreciate it.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're trying to raise about $4,000 would be ideal. $4 to $6,000 before it should cover post production budget. And anxious to get back to editing and get this baby out. We have Tim Quill's one of the stars in the Bloodfire segment, who's the blacksmith in Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
And he's in a movie called Blood Hunter, which right before we filmed my movie, he was filming in Montana for that. So he announced today that there's going to be a screening of Blood Hunter in early November. No official date yet.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I just want to point something out weird. My neighbors. Anyways, I want to point something weird. Bloodfire and Blood Hunt. Two movies with blood being filmed at the same time.
Right. We also have a band that's called Flight of Fire.
No
That a couple of
shit.
their songs are going to be in the Bloodfire segment.
Nice.
I can't wait to see that movie. And please, donate to it because you don't want to miss this film.
Absolutely. And support your local filmmakers as well. Because
Yes.
that's all of us at this point. Everyone sitting here.
Right.
And I'm sure you'd want people to support your work. Yes, I'm being a mom guilt-tripping you.
Are you guilt tripping our audience now?
Not to mention, Seth and Tia's on the horizon.
Yeah,
too.
Yes.
absolutely.
I will just announce when that's being released. That one's almost done. 2 more scenes and it's being color corrected right now. So that progress is being made.
All I can say is it's medicine time, motherfuckers.
So John, let me ask you, who are your favorite directors that inspired you?
Definitely John Carpenter. I just fell in love with the Halloween films. And he had a slew, The Fog. even down the road, like In the Mouth of Madness is, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a total mind trip.
It's one of the weirdest horror movies ever.
I've
Yeah.
not seen it yet.
You have to see it. It's very Lovecraftian.
I probably would like it.
It's really good. It's a great film. And Sam Neill is.
And without realizing it, I kind of, that's kind of where I started to learn to write screenplays, because I've been writing since high school, creatively, but a long time ago, about 20 years ago, I got a copy of the script for Halloween and just read it, and kind of adapted that kind of writing style, and I think a little bit the directing style.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind that mine's a lot lower budget than what Halloween is.
He's a good director to follow the footsteps of, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
And let me ask you, what are your top 5 favorite horror films of all time?
Halloween and Halloween 2 are right up there.
Yeah.
I'm an old school fan, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's one we didn't think about during our.
Yeah, we didn't think about that. That's one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I love about that is the acting to me was totally real.
Oh, yes.
I just think everyone played their part so realistically, and that's kind of what I was trying to do with Cemetery Stories, is make it real. And I'm still kind of old school too on the Wolfman, the original, with Lon Chaney Jr.
It's on his list.
That's on my list.
Yeah, I
a great
recently had a Facebook challenge to 10 films in 10 days. I went off the path a little bit, but those made it, and that fifth one, God, it's kind of a toss up. Obviously, I like the slasher films.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, In the Mouth of Madness really.
It's such a good movie.
I have to watch
It's
it
so
now.
underrated.
I know.
I have to watch it
Yeah,
now.
I can't believe you haven't seen that movie.
No.
Even like The Thing.
Oh man,
The Thing is a
Thing was
fantastic
fantastic
movie.
film.
It's one of my.
That's another one we should have.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's like a masterpiece.
Now we're gonna have to do another top 10.
God damn it!
Updated.
Updated top 10. Boy, that's sad of us.
Yeah, that is sad. That's blasphemy. We didn't mention Texas Chainsaw or The Thing.
Right. Well, Halloween was my number 2, so at least I remember that.
At least we got that in there. I mean, that's a necessary movie to put in there.
Yeah.
I could still I could watch Freddy vs. Jason any day.
Me
It's
too.
still a good fun. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I just wish they put Ash in it.
Oh yeah.
That would even get a better movie.
I mean, obviously, it's too late. I would have loved to have seen the Tall Man versus Pinhead.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that would be a perfect matchup.
It would be.
I want to see Michael Myers versus Leatherface.
There you go.
That would be watchable.
Leatherface be going down.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think so. Well, there is that new Halloween coming out.
I
Yeah.
can't wait. Yes, we're gonna do a special on that. I think. Down
Yeah,
the road.
we're gonna definitely do a after the theater when we go see that for sure.
Yes.
And the cool thing it is, getting to hang out with some of the, 3 of them actually. Tony Moran, the original Michael Myers, and
nice.
Tyler Mane, who's the older Michael Myers and Rob Zombie.
From the Rob Zombie film,
and
yeah.
Dave Fairch, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. The young Michael Myers.
Yeah.
It's been pretty cool to hang out with all of them.
That's cool. Not many people appreciate Rob Zombie's Halloween movie, but
Yeah, I liked it. Part 1, Part 2 was a little bit different.
but I liked the first one as a companion to the original. Like it doesn't feel like it. Yeah, I don't think it steps on toes.
I don't either. I know some people didn't like, but I like the way he did that particular take on showing some backstory.
Something new.
Right, exactly.
That's what I liked about it.
I can understand why people liked it. I wasn't into it. I mean,
Yeah, we're not bashing on you because you didn't like it.
each their own. I like Rob Zombie's Devil's Rejects and 31. Those are fun movies.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see 3 from Hell.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
so excited for anything he does these days.
I'm excited for not only for the new Halloween movie, but also like the Predator movie that's coming out.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure Predator counts as horror. It really doesn't, does it?
It can.
It's definitely more of an action.
It could have
film.
been. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Right.
I'm looking forward to Cemetery Stories.
Yeah, that's the one.
Thank you.
And with
Well, I can't tell you how many people, when I tell them about it, like being sort of like Creepshow, that they miss like those type of horror films that are anthology style.
Yeah.
And, shows like Tales from the Crypt, if we get it. to that stage as a weekly show.
Yeah. Is that the goal?
Yeah.
Actually, it is.
Okay.
Which is why I want to have the next 5 enough to make a sequel with a whole different storyline or episodically.
Because I love anthology shows, and I've always really dug that quite a bit.
Tales from the Crypt and Tales from the Dark Side.
Oh yeah, all of that stuff.
And I'm very inspired by Rod Serling with his plot twists.
Yeah.
Speaking of anthology, there's a pretty recent one I liked. Did you 3 ones? Did you see Trick or Treat? That one's great. Mm-hmm. And so the ABCs of Death. I like those movies.
Yeah, we're gonna do Trick or Treat as a live stream in October.
Oh, sweet.
One of the most You're welcome to join us on that too.
Yeah, we could definitely use a guest.
We could do.
Hey, sure.
We get drunk and watch it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
See how many drinks we can get
I'll
during
drink
the whole movie.
I wonder what kind of drink you can make with Trick or Treat.
We'd have to watch it one time first to find out.
And write it down.
Yeah.
Well, you know what my brother used to do for Halloween? He would take a pumpkin, carve it out, line it with either plastic or foil, pour, let's see, there was Captain Morgan, cinnamon schnapps, apple schnapps, and apple cider.
We should have that.
Yes.
And we would call it the Drunken Pumpkin.
Nice.
Oh, man.
See, that's that, and then we could drink that during Trick or Treat. That sounds awesome.
Tales of Halloween
Sounds
is
like a
pretty
treat to
awesome
me.
too.
Tales of Halloween. I haven't
Tales
seen
of
that
Halloween?
one.
I haven't seen that one yet either. I did see one. I think it was called Holidays. It had Kevin Smith directed a segment in that where it was. I know that his daughter was in it. They were cam girls and they torture their pimp or something like that.
No.
I think it's called Holidays. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I know.
Well, if you know, you can tell us.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen it years ago. It was 2 years ago. That was a pretty interesting one. They had a couple of really good segments in that.
I mean, the classic one is the Twilight Zone.
Well, of course.
I mean, I mean, even just not even the show, but the movie, the Twilight Zone is a classic.
Especially the story behind that movie.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
It's a creepy movie all the way around. I still get creeped out by the John Lithgow segment on the plane. Freaks me out still. Just the lightning flashing and that monster is on the fucking wing, and you're like, what the fuck? that paranoia is still relevant today. It's scary shit.
You know what segment in Tales of the Dark Side scared me as a child? The bat.
Oh yeah.
The giant bat. That freaked me the fuck out when I was a child.
Well, I grew up next to a funeral home, and we used to play hide and seek in a funeral home.
Oh man, that would scare the shit out of me. I can't do that.
John's already brave. That's why I wonder what your biggest phobia is.
Honestly, I can't stand yellow jackets.
Oh God, no.
I don't like them either.
Pain in the ass.
They're dicks.
I don't like anything that flies and can hurt you.
I wouldn't necessarily, say that they're my biggest phobia, but I'm definitely one of those people who couldn't, sit there where, you see people doing those beard of bees or whatever.
Oh,
I'd
hell
be
no.
Totally terrified of that.
No.
I don't.
Why don't somebody needs to make a horror movie about that,
About beekeepers?
Beekeepers, something totally fucked up about bees.
Well, they did do the Swarm, back in the 70s.
Yeah, but what was that? I didn't see that.
Wasn't there bees in the Wicker Man?
There is bees in the Wicker Man.
Candyman.
And Candyman.
Candyman.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, that movie's creepy.
Yeah, that movie's something else.
Actually, that is a very underappreciated movie.
It is super underappreciated.
I'm surprised they don't show the Swarm. I mean, there's so many, Prince of Darkness is another movie.
Ooh, I heard that.
Dallas
was good.
Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Just something about that, being covered with anything at any point, not anything, but something alive. Spiders,
right? Roaches,
bees, roaches,
oh yeah,
beetles, ants, whatever.
Like that segment in Creep Show where the guy's apartment is getting swarmed by roaches.
Right.
It's the entire time when you're watching I don't know how far back everybody's horror love goes, but I like the 50s movies quite a bit.
Is that the giant ant movie?
Yes. The whole time I'm watching that, I'm thinking, boy, wouldn't it be scary if there's billions of little ones too? Because nobody ever explores that. What if ants just go crazy?
A long time ago, I think Suzanne Summers was in this. It was called Phase 4, which was about an army of ants.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Probably pretty cheesy.
So somebody probably did do it, and I'm just
standards.
catching up.
Oh. I don't like
I'm
bugs.
just revealing my age. That's all.
I just don't like bugs. What's your biggest phobia, Brian?
Spiders and gray aliens. What? I don't know why they're creepy. That's like, that movie Dark Skies, the found footage one.
Yeah.
That movie scares the shit out of me. And they never even show anything. It just, I know that they're there. And so it freaks me out.
I am severely claustrophobic. That's why The Descent is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. And that movie Buried with Ryan Reynolds. That's where he's in a coffin. He's buried for like 6 feet under in a coffin.
Oh wow!
That movie was way too much for me because that is one of my biggest fears is being buried alive.
That would be a scary thought.
Nobody wants to be buried alive. I don't think anybody out there is like, I'll go out like that.
Oh, right.
Why not? No, nobody says that.
Imagine being buried alive and having locusts
or buried alive and you're covered in bugs. It doesn't matter what kind.
Right?
Oh.
It's just horrible. Standing right here.
Was that The Mummy or Part 2 that had that?
Oh yeah, where they're covered with scarabs. Yeah.
Oh, that would suck.
That'd be so bad, and they just eat you while you're laying there. Oh no.
I have nightmares about that.
Me too.
Being buried alive. That's probably my biggest phobia.
That's a pretty bad one.
So what's your guys' take on zombies? Played out or?
I would say played out. But
I would say not played out. Not played enough. I'm a huge zombie geek.
Then again, I'm wearing a zombie movie T-shirt.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It is my favorite horror film of all time. So.
And it's a zombie movie.
Go figure.
We're going to keep talking about this every show, how Steve hates zombie movies, but his favorite fucking horror movie of all time is Night of the Living Dead.
Return of the
Living Dead. Fuck.
I don't hate all zombies. I like 28 Days Later. I thought that was fantastic. I like the original Dawn of the Dead movie. I like Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, but okay. But now, in today's modern zombie movie, the horror survival thing is a trope.
Z Nation, they put a comedy twist on it.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I mean, I like The Walking Dead too.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that.
I'm one of the guys who has not gotten sick of it and been like, I'm done watching this show because if I start something and I'm gonna watch and I've already watched it for 6 seasons, I'm finishing that motherfucker. Like,
right.
Whatever happens, I'm in for all of it. So even if it starts to suck, which it hasn't yet, in my opinion, I'm still gonna watch it.
I like Zombieland. I thought that was an entertaining movie.
Oh yeah, I like that.
But I even like Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, like we talked about on the last show. It's the remake.
Now I have worked with some of the people from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Amber Dawn Fox, who was in season 5 as Officer Vella at what was it, Grace Memorial.
Yeah.
Her and I, she helped me get aboard a film called Devil's Preacher as crew, which was shot it was kind of a bucket list thing for me to film tent camp in the woods and shoot a horror film.
Yeah.
So it was January, and it was like 5 degrees here, snowy ice. And when I got like the email, John's name said, you may be subjected to the elements, blah, 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 blah. And I looked at their weather. It was sunny, 60 degrees. I'm like, yeah, please subject me.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
I think I could handle it. And the cool thing, we got kind of chilly at night, but we were filming at night mostly because it was a horror film. And
you're moving around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it did get chilly at night, but during the day it was gorgeous. And for me, that was, about 4 or 5 days.
It's a good shoot.
Yep, and I've gotten to know. I've been to a place called the Graveyard Tavern in Atlanta, where they host a lot of the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
The Walkers and the Saviors host the season premiere or mid-season premiere parties. So I've gotten to know several of the Walkers.
That's cool.
Last time I was down there, second last time I was down there, I stayed at Kent. Wagner, one of the Walkers, stayed at his place, so we've become pretty good friends. And I know the people that from Atlanta movie tours. By the way, if you're ever in Atlanta, man, check out Atlanta movie tours. They do great Walking Dead, going to the sites, Terminus, and
place
where Merle died.
I would love to see that.
and where Rick and the governor first. I mean, there's just a slew of great spots if you're a Walking Dead fan.
Because when years and years before there was a show, I was a huge fan of the book, well, the comic series at least, and they're great books, and I don't think the show's deviated too far from that quality.
Right.
A lot of people are like, oh, I don't like this or I like that. Oh, fuck those people.
I don't care what anybody says. Glenn getting his head bashed in. I hated to see him leave the show because he's an original cast member. People got all wishy-washy about that. I thought it was fucking badass.
Right.
I wish they would do more of it.
Right. Get rid of, kill people. I mean, that's what the book. That's what sold the book was. When is the next person from the original group going to die?
That brutality.
Oh yeah, never see that on TV. That's what.
Right.
That's what's amazing about it.
That's why people like Game of Thrones, because you never know who's going to die in that show.
Yeah, but Game of Thrones is on cable. Walking Dead is on network television. It's true. When you watched a guy get his head crushed in by a baseball bat with some barbed wire around it.
I gotta catch up. I've only watched the first 3 seasons.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got it.
I met Michael Cudlitz at Motor City Comic Con in between the seasons where you were wondering who was going to die.
Oh yeah.
And
his worst nightmare, I'm sure.
Talking to him, he already knew.
Yeah.
And I kind of got the vibe without him saying so much. You could just tell, he had a feeling he wasn't coming back.
Right.
I'm a little bit behind on Walking Dead. I'm not gonna lie. I know. I do like the fan base. I think the fan base is fun, and I can't imagine something more cool than being on that show as one of the walkers. I mean,
that was my goal, was to be on that show in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
By season 9, when I first started acting, I told my son I wanted to be in The Walking Dead by season 9 or Sharknado by Sharknado 7.
There you go.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
Did 6 come out yet?
I'm not sure. I lost
I know
track.
Shark Week. I've been
Well,
so
I
busy.
know for sure that the next Sharknado movie has dinosaurs in it.
I can't wait for that. Those movies are so awful. I love them.
What, they got megamouth sharks in it?
No, dinosaurs. Like
wow,
T-Rex.
okay.
They had a poster. It was just online today with dinosaurs in the background for the fight. It's called the final Sharknado.
Oh wow.
So
now going back to where I first got inspired to act, one of the people I met at Motor City Nightmares that first time was Tiffany Shepis, who's in Sharknado 2. Just her personality was so lively, and her and I kind of clicked pretty well because I'm generally very upbeat, outgoing, and so we started talking to each other for a half hour, and my son's like, "Wow, do you two know each other?" And she's like, "Well, we do now." But yeah, great actress in totally horror.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's a very horror actress.
She's really cool. Yeah. I always love Tiffany Shepis. I want to meet her, and when I get an opportunity, I want to meet Linnea Quigley. Yes, my childhood crush.
And I missed her. She was at last year Motor City Nightmares.
Was she?
Yeah,
I missed that.
Maybe it was a couple years ago where Beverly Randolph, they had a Return of the Living Dead reunion.
Okay. I don't think I was there for that. I remember I met Dee Wallace.
Oh yeah, she's super nice.
I met Jamie Lee Curtis 8 years ago.
Oh well,
that was
now that's the one I really want to meet.
Now we're measuring dicks here.
Yeah, it was years ago in Illinois, somewhere outside of Chicago at a con.
Was she cool?
Yeah, I mean, I was just shake hands, sign autographs kind of thing and stuff like that. And I didn't have anything to sign, so I just kind of walked by. But, she's nice, and she greeted the fans, and, she did her thing,
Right.
So
now, I have met Tony Moran, PJ Souls, and Nancy Loomis.
Yeah.
And PJ Souls is super nice. We know each other by name pretty well now, so...
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's always great to see her, and Dee Wallace especially, too.
She's there every year at Motor City Nightmares. She's always super nice.
Yeah.
I remember, who else did I meet over there? I met Vincent Price's daughter. She was really cool. I've met Sid Hagel bunches of times. Super nice guy.
He's always at the cons. He even does Comic-Con.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And I ran into Malcolm McDowell a couple of times because he was at the last Motor City Nightmares, and he was pretty nice.
Yeah, I saw him, I saw him doing autographs and got to kind of walk by and see him doing his kind of he does a bit when he's doing signings and stuff like that. I saw him when he was doing Patient Zero, 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, I did not. I don't know if he did that at More St. Amherst. Like, I just walked past him because I was too busy, screening Snuff.
I met him briefly. He was sort of on a break, so I didn't want to bother him too much. Mm-hmm. But I did get to meet George Romero like 3 months before he passed away.
Lucky.
That's the high bar.
That's the high bar.
You could tell he was starting. I mean, you could tell his health wasn't what it should be, but super nice guy, very inspiring to talk to. Especially when I was telling him about cemetery stories. This was, this was in April, and I think I was still in the process of just finishing up the screenplay for the Bloodfire segment. So he was very, very cool. Glad I got to meet him before he passed.
Yeah, I would have loved to.
I've met Russ Striner, who played Johnny, and Judith O'Day, who played Barbara in Atlanta, and both of them were super nice. John Russo, he was one of the zombies.
Okay.
The original. He was also in Return of the Living Dead, so if there's any connection to the two,
that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about the other segments of your movie.
Chase Murphy did 2 of the segments. Diced, which I auditioned for and I didn't get the role. Excuse me, but he was he liked my audition enough to cast me in the lead in Bear Hug, which is also a part of it, which I'm really proud of my acting in that. Diced, can't give too many details, but it basically is about a couple where sort of on the fringe of sanity.
Okay.
Bear Hug, I play a really mean drunk dad, and my son wants to go hunting with me, so I make him sit on a bucket overnight, and next morning things get a little weird.
Yeah, that sounds creepy.
Yeah,
already.
I can't wait for that.
And then Beggar's Remorse was done by Mark France. Troy Randall Kilpatrick did an amazing job acting in that. It's sort of a supernatural element tied in with a serial killer.
Okay.
And then Devil's Workshop, that I needed a segment that was short but gory.
Mm-hmm.
So I got very Rob Zombie-ish on that one. I'm just going to leave it like that.
That was one of the ones
it's going to be heavy on blood.
That was one of the ones you directed. What was so Rob Zombie was your biggest influence on that one?
On that aspect, yeah, it was very I wanted to go heavier on the blood
on
that. The Bloodfire segment, I wanted to make that just pure dark satanic.
Right.
Which is funny because I used to work for a Catholic church.
Man,
that one I'm looking forward to because I may or may not know stuff about it because I helped with the crowdsourcing sizzle reel. So
nice. Well, I think we're gonna leave some more links below to all the actors and everything that's inside that's a part of your film and part of the funding for your film and everything like that, because we want to try to do other directors as well that are doing other movies and promote the kind of the culture of local directing.
Yes.
Because I don't think most people even know that there is a culture for local directing.
A lot of people don't know. Like, everyone knows about indie music scene. You always talk about indie films. You sound unique. You talk about underground films. Everyone goes, that's a fucking thing?
Right, that's a thing. Like, underground films? What's that mean?
Yeah, I know. It's funny because to me, music in films kind of go hand in hand. But at the same time, it's like a local band could get gigs in bars and whatnot where... to get your movie out, I mean, just to complete it from A to Z, it's a process.
Oh yeah,
it's very hard,
and you have to have it all at once. You can't just you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to spend $50 here, $50 there. You have to have everything ready to go and a script and everything else.
Yeah, so countless hours,
and you have to have more than 5 people helping you.
Right?
Because I played in a band for 20 years and. you know, all you need is those 5 people, and all you need to have is $50-$60 at a time to be able to, you know, get your gear from one place to the other. Making movies is like, you don't have $25,000 to get started.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, they always had this dumbass remark that I don't agree with. They go, so if you don't want the money, don't make them. Like,
no.
If you really are serious about making films, you're going to make movies.
Start making them with no money.
You start making them no money. Actually,
yeah,
they'll
you
test
find
your
a
talent.
way. You know,
Right.
for anybody who's new to filmmaking, whether you're acting, directing, producing, research, do your homework. I will say from experience, learn, especially if you're going to be a producer and invest. Do your homework on people.
Yeah.
You know, and I throw myself in that position. You know. But I do have a kick-ass movie. So.
Yes, we all do.
Yeah. Well, one day I will.
But I will say, you know, we got a really good composer for my film, Evan Evans. We just got him aboard The Other Side of Paradise.
Nice.
He's done work on Starship Troopers, The Changeling,
Wow.
The Poker Club, Game of Assassins, Night of the Templar, which had Udo here, who was at
I know
Morrissey.
that. I've heard of that movie.
He's composed over 60 Hollywood films, so we're very fortunate to have him aboard.
Nice. That's a good win.
And I can't wait to get that, you know, the film completed to get into his hands.
Right, because music can just sell an entire movie.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, going back to Halloween.
Oh yeah, just the minimalist.
Yeah.
Like just that noise was scary.
Right.
Or the lack of noise.
That movie was fan. Yeah,
The score is amazing.
Scores made the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. It made the movie.
Yeah,
It made the movie.
it made it. It definitely did.
Well,
I think that
wraps everything up.
Everything.
You
Thank
can't
you.
see this arm.
Yeah, thank you so much for spending time with us, John. Getting to know your movie.
Hey,
We
my
look forward
pleasure.
to it.
Be on Volta Horror. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank you. And we look forward to seeing Cemetery Stories.
Yeah, for
thanks.
sure.
And especially, you know, we didn't talk much about snuff.
Yes, we're gonna be submitting it at film festivals, and I have other plans in mind for it. And if there's a way for you all, audience, to see Snuff,
I'm gonna do a review.
he's gonna do a review, and we will let you know because we worked really hard on Snuff, and we gotta show that one.
It's a
off.
great flick.
Oh yeah, I play the director. Steve's the actual director of the movie. I'm the director in the movie.
He's Spot.
He's Spot. my
Yes. They're having it stitches at work. Stitches.
Okay.
I'm watching it at work, like in between calls. I'm laughing my ass off at you guys. It was crazy.
It was a fun movie to make.
Then I'm kind of
yeah.
like hiding the gore scenes, like don't look.
Right. It's like, audiences love boobs.
My favorite line: "I've got pizza."
Well, thank you for tuning in to Vault of Horror. And next time, we're not going to do a revision of our top 10. We're going to do some reviews and some news and comic reviews.
And I'm gonna review Castle Rock, the new Stephen King show, since I'm watching it.
Yes.